Welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news about presidential criminal releases, news from the county and city about sanctuary policies, Measure L committee news, today's KZGN Talking Points editorial, and more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitnick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Well, the president has already started his campaign on releasing criminals onto our streets. It was reported by multiple news agencies yesterday that President Barack Obama cut the prison sentences of another 46 nonviolent offenders on Monday, including 14 who were serving life sentences, saying their punishments didn't fit the crime. This brings the total to 90 criminals released so far during this presidency. These men and women were not hardened criminals, Obama said in a video released by the White House. He said the overwhelming majority of the 46 had been sentenced to at least 20 years. This is part of the administration's effort to be fairer on criminals. Fairer. One reporter asked, what happened to the belief, don't do the crime if you can't do the time? No comment from the White House. The president has now issued nearly 90 commutations during his presidency, most of them to nonviolent offenders sentenced for drug crimes under what this administration believes to be outdated sentencing guidelines. Most presidents use this authority at the end of their terms, but it appears that Obama will help fix the unfairness of the system for the rest of his term, releasing hundreds of more criminals onto our streets. A commutation leaves the conviction in place but ends the punishment. He even wrote a personal letter to each of the 46 individuals to notify them of their commutation. In a letter to Jerry Bailey, who was sentenced to 30 years in prison for conspiracy to violate laws against crack cocaine, Obama praised Bailey for showing the potential to turn his life around. When asked how he knows that he turned his life around since he was still in prison, there was no answer. Obama's lawyer, White House counsel Neil Eggleston, predicted the president would issue even more commutations before leaving office in early 2017. But he also said that Obama's powers to fix the problem were limited, adding that clemency alone will not fix decades of overly punitive sentencing policies. Obama this week is devoting considerable attention to the criminal justice system. He plans to lay out ideas for how to improve the fairness of the system during a speech to the NAACP in Philadelphia today. And on Thursday, he is becoming the first sitting president to visit a federal prison where he goes to the El Reno Federal Correctional Institution outside of Oklahoma City. He plans to meet with law enforcement officials and inmates at the prison. Now, as we get more information about sanctuary cities and law enforcement not cooperating with federal ICE requests for detainment of illegal immigrant criminals, I contacted our Kern County Sheriff, Donnie Youngblood, and our Chief of Police, Ron Strand, for their comments. From Sheriff Youngblood, I received the following. He states that the county honors all federal requests. He added that they also notify ICE when they are made aware that a prisoner is potentially an illegal alien. He estimates that this year so far, they have turned over about 70 criminals to ICE. I asked him how that actually happens. He said that when they have a detainment order and they have the prisoner, they notify ICE the time and place for their release. Then an ICE agent actually shows up at the release facility and waits for the person to be let out through the door of the facility. Then they identify the individual and take him into custody. He also stated that while they always notify ICE when they are holding someone, that ICE only picks up about 75% of the ones they release. By law, they can only hold someone in accordance with the court's orders. Once they are cleared by a court for release, if ICE isn't there to pick them up, then they go back on the street. The statement from Chief Strand was, if there is a hold on a prisoner, whether state or federal, we book them at the Kern County Jail. This means that if there is any order the Ridgecrest Police Department receives to detain someone, then they detain the person and turn them over to the Kern County Sheriff for processing. This is due to the fact that Ridgecrest does not maintain any jail facility. All those services are provided by the Sheriff's Department. So it sounds like we don't live in a sanctuary city or county. In city news, yesterday evening, the city's Measure L committee met at City Hall. The main purpose of the meeting was to approve the final version of their annual report to the city on the council's use of Measure L funds. What happened was during the last month's report to the council at a regular council meeting, it was discovered that one of the tables showing fund distribution had some extra numbers in it that didn't seem appropriate. While the bottom line conclusions of the report were accurate, some numbers were inadvertently left in the report by accident. So the committee finished their presentation and agreed to take it back to the committee to make sure all the table data was accurate. So at yesterday's meeting, they went over a revised report. But again, they discovered a possible error in how the numbers were entered into the table. So they agreed to table the item until their next meeting. Two of the committee members agreed to meet and to fix the table by the next meeting. The next meeting may be a special meeting, or it could be their next regular meeting in August. DART has announced a new service they are providing to the community. Oftentimes, parents of infants have a difficult time finding daycare for their infant children. Well, DART has started a new infant care center. They just accepted their first customer. The program will be available 5 days a week from 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Infants can attend part-time or full-time or have flexible hours. For information or to tour the new facility, call Lillian Ramirez, Director, at 760-375-9787, extension 23. Again, this is a new service provided by the Desert Area Resource and Training. Stay with us for KZGN's Talking Points editorial when we come back. Now it's time for the 58th KZGN News Talking Points editorial. Here's today's topic. Why is Donald Trump gaining ground in the Republican primary? But first, some reports about my last editorial titled, Should the City of Ridgecrest Annex Land along its southern border and along South China Lake Boulevard out to Route 395? Well, I had one guy come into the store voicing strong opposition to the idea. While we discussed it in the store, he made some valid points, but some were also not correct. Again, all I can add at this time concerning a potential annexation of territory into the city, I hope everyone discusses the pros and cons and makes an informed decision. Do not make a decision based on untrue assumptions that are already circulating. It will be up to Mayor Breeden to provide the information the people will need to make an informed decision. Now on with today's editorial, titled, Why is Donald Trump gaining ground in the Republican primary? Well, since Trump has jumped into the Republican primary, it has certainly gotten interesting. Personally, I like this new energy he brings into the campaign. All the news pundits are assessing this popularity. Both the left and the right don't understand the excitement shown by the supporters. They cannot fathom why he is going up in the polls. Most polls show him in either second or first place. He is being dismissed by the Republican establishment. Well, I have my opinion as to why he is gaining popularity. It has to do with clarity and forcefulness. Trump is saying things many are saying in their homes every day, but things the people are afraid to say in public due to political correctness and those that try to tie any criticism to racism. One pundit even said the silent majority finally has a spokesperson. Pundits have even said Trump is really a Democrat. One even put out the possibility that he was put up to this by Hillary. All I can say is wow. Now, I have no idea if any of those assumptions are right or wrong. What I do know is that he is talking about some things everyone else is being wishy-washy about. I know I'm not alone in that I am very angry as to what is going on with this president. I have been wanting anyone, to actually fight this president. I've been wanting Congress to challenge him. He is constantly warning Congress, they better do what he wants or he'll go around them. He'll use illegal executive orders. He threatens vetoes. The president is not a dictatorship. We are a representative form of government, and Congress is supposed to represent us, not the president. So for 7 years, a large part of the country has been waiting for someone to challenge this president, and few of the current Republican candidates are stepping up and saying what we want to hear. We want a candidate that will fix the last 7 years. Trump is coming out discussing real problems. He is telling what he thinks in strong words. Too often candidates try and say something strong only to try and smooth off the rough edges of the point he's trying to make, so as not to offend someone. Many are completely fed up with all the talk in Washington, all this talk that they'll take on the president on his illegal actions. Then hardly anything happens. Hey, Congress, we're looking for action, not words. Enough talk. Do something, Congress. Trump is telling us he's ready to fight for us in the country. He's ready to kick butt to foreign terrorists. He's ready to take on Iran, Russia, China, and Korea. He's ready to create jobs, real jobs, not part-time and minimum wage jobs. It is estimated we have over 4 million people that have just given up looking for work. Those numbers are being hidden by the president. Trump is ready to close our border to illegal immigration. All the current and past Congresses have all promised to close the border. None have done it. He actually sounds like he means it. He's ready to be the strong leader we all want, not a president that goes around bowing to our enemies. We are fed up with a weak president. We are also fed up with a Justice Department that only takes on cases generally that have race implications. How about the rest of the people? I don't intend this editorial to be an endorsement of Trump, but it is an endorsement of what he is saying, what a lot of us agree with. He is not worried about being politically correct, and when the pundits come after him for his candor, I say this: at least we know what he really thinks, not the mush we hear from so many other candidates. I don't know about you, but I've had it with politicians telling me they understand me and will take care of me. I don't need you taking care of me. There's enough of that already. Take care of the country. Do what is right for the country. For if it's right for the country, then it's right for me as an individual. Provide a defense of our borders. There are bad people coming across our borders, people that see us as weak and seek to destroy our way of life, people that are animals. These people need to be stopped. Provide a defense of our country. Stop this nonsense of giving away all our protections. I can hardly wait to see the details of today's reported Iran deal. And if it's a bad deal, then Congress better do something about it, not talk tough and then run and hide. Obama has already threatened a veto if Congress tries to do anything to stop this deal. So again, he's threatening the people that we elected to represent us in the country. So I'm happy Trump is out there saying what he is. The rest of the candidates better take heed to what he's saying. There is a huge portion of the nation that agree with him. In conclusion, is Trump stirring things up? Yes, and that's great. He is showing strength and pride. He has had it with political correctness. The rest of the candidates should pay attention. I'm Tom Whitnick, and that's what I think. And I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments about this editorial or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@kzgn.net. Stay tuned for weather and sports after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. The National Weather Service is forecasting a risk of severe thunderstorms across parts of the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Southeast. A slight risk of severe thunderstorms for parts of the Central Plains, mainly across western Kansas, as well as adjacent sections of eastern Colorado and southeastern Nebraska. Temperatures across the nation: Massachusetts came in at 75, Ohio 81, Kansas 79, New Mexico 71, Arizona 89, and Los Angeles at 66. For our forecast here in the IWV, tonight mostly clear with a low around 71, west-southwest wind 10 to 15 miles per hour with 20 mile per hour gusts. Wednesday will be sunny and hot with a high near 101, south-southwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday night mostly clear with a low around 71, west-southwest wind 5 to 15 miles per hour. Thursday sunny and hot with a high near 101, south-southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday night, mostly clear with a low around 72, west wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. And on Friday, sunny and hot with a high near 102, calm wind south-southeast 5 miles per hour. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom and the rest of your KZGN news.
Thanks, Keith. Now Tom Heck with sports.
And a very pleasant Tuesday afternoon to everyone. Well, tonight from the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, it'll be the American League and National League All-Star game, and it's probably a memory that everybody has growing up. I remember as a youngster, probably one of the first games I got to watch on television. It was the Ray Fosse, Pete Rose famous collision back in 1970 from the brand new Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. And in that game, Pete Rose made what turned out to be a highlight reel for eternity. And Ray Fosse, the great catcher for the Cleveland Indians, never quite the same. Fosse, though, today a successful broadcaster with the Oakland Athletics. And Pete Rose, a lot of situations with him, good and bad, and you can fill in the blanks if you're a Pete Rose fan or not. Personally, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. That's just my thoughts. All right, let's get to more closer things. Let's talk about the standings right now at the midway point. A lot of surprises, maybe. A lot of teams that weren't really supposed to do that well, doing well, and a few teams underachieving. Let's take a look at the American League East. The Yankees, 8 games over 500, 48-40 at the halfway point. The Rays are 46-45. They have been like an elevator, up and down, up and down. They're coming off, though, 3 straight victories over the Houston Astros. The Orioles are 44-44. They have struggled. They're now at the 500 mark, and they haven't been there yet until just recently. The Jays are a game under 500. They have been up and down. They had a 12-game winning streak earlier in the year. And the Red Sox, who were 12 games out about 2.5 weeks ago, playing good baseball, they have won 10 of 12. They're now 6.5 games behind the leaders in the East. Boy, that East is so compact, not much room between the top team and really the bottom team in that. In the Central, Kansas City, 18 games over 500. They've got a 4.5 game lead over the Minnesota Twins. The Twins have done well this year. No one really gave the Twins much of a chance, but they have done very well so far. The Tigers have underachieved. They did get Justin Verlander back. That'll help some. They're 44-44. And many people thought they would be at least 10 to 15 games over 500 at this point. Cleveland and the White Sox got off to horrendous starts. Both teams, though, playing pretty well. Both teams now only 4 games under 500 after being 12 to 15 games under 500 a lot of the first part of the season. All right, let's take a look at the West. Well, we knew it was going to happen. The Angels now in first place by a half a game, 48-40. Angels coming off a split up in Seattle, 4 games. Angels home on Friday to take on the Boston Red Sox. The Astros are plunging. They've lost 7 in a row right now. Houston, a very young team. They've lost George Springer, their leadoff hitter, the very talented leader. That's going to hurt them. They're 7 games over 500, though, and give A.J. Hinch a lot of credit. He's done a very, very good job with a young team. Texas, 4 games under, 42-46, and Seattle and Oakland bringing up the rear. Maybe Oakland, if they start hitting the ball, they're 9 games back right now, can maybe give the Angels a little bit of a challenge. Texas, I'd like to think they don't have the pitching. Too many injuries. All right, the National League. Let's take a look at the East. Washington, 9 games over 500. Matt Williams, their manager, done a great job so far. The Mets, 47-42, 5 games over. They got off to a great start, then fell apart, and now have picked up the strings again. They have won 8 of 11. Atlanta, 5 games under, 42-47, the top 3 teams in the East. We go to the Central. The St. Louis Cardinals, who at one time were 28 games over 500, are now 56-33. They're still playing great baseball. However, over the weekend, a couple of bumps. They won the first game against the Pirates on Friday, but they lost Saturday and Sunday. The Pirates, the second-place team in the East, they are 18 games over 500. That's how good the top 2 teams in the East are. And the Pirates came from behind on Saturday night and won in 14 innings against the Cardinals. And on Sunday night, they came from behind. They scored 3 runs in the 10th inning. After the Cardinals had scored 2 runs in the 10th inning, they win again. So that's a great motivation going into the All-Star. They've got some momentum behind them, and now they are only 2.5 games behind the Cardinals. Either way you slice it, both of those teams will be in the playoffs. All right, the Cubs, 7 games over 500, give them credit, and the Reds in Milwaukee playing somewhat better, but way, way down in the standings. The Dodgers now 12 games over. They beat Milwaukee 2 of 3 this past weekend in L.A. The Dodgers won 2 of those 3, come from behind. They win by 1 run. Arizona 7.5 games back. The Giants 3 games back. The Giants just swept Philadelphia. The Giants have really struggled the last 4 or 5 weeks. They need Hunter Pence back. They might get him back in 2 weeks. San Diego 8 games under, and then Colorado bringing up the rear. There has been 3 managerial changes, notably Ron Renicky in Milwaukee, who led that team to a Central Division championship just a couple years ago, was replaced, and Bud Black, also the 9-year manager of the San Diego Padres, was replaced. All right, that's your sports for this Tuesday. And don't forget to watch the All-Star game tonight over on ESPN and Fox. That's your sports for Tuesday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Coming up next, Ridgecrest Talk.